And we're live from OGHQ 2.0, soon to be 3.0 someday. Welcome, everyone. Wednesday, the reason why we're doing it on Wednesday is because I'm headed to Atlanta for Thursday, Friday to go to Sonic and Dine-In APR, which I'm pumped to go shoot some video. And I've got a volunteer cameraman, so Tyler's going to come and camera hold for me, which is great. It's always better when I don't have to hold the camera, and then I can do my thing. So what's going on this week? I about killed you the last couple of days.
We'll get to that. We'll get to the mess. But something big happened between last week and this week that was a lot of fun. The open house. We had it Saturday here at OGHQ. Had a pretty good turnout. Had people kind of steadily streaming in all day, which was nice. So looking back on it, like, what were your thoughts? Did you enjoy it? Was it successful?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the purpose was to just open up the place, and I didn't want to have some agenda or some big, we're going to have a barbecue and we're going to sit on, and have a band and all this bull crap. I just wanted people to be able to come in and hang out, and so that it went as I expected. Anything that I'm doing what I would want to participate in, so like I hate when I go to events and this whole big stupid thing where you got all this extra crap that nobody wants, and I don't want to be yelling at people over some music or some bull crap. So we just opened it up, and I think we sold like $25,000 worth of stuff that day between new and some of my garage sale related stuff. But it was an opportunity for me to kind of clean out some of the stuff that's just too good to throw away. I would have a lot more stuff, but I throw a lot of stuff away. And it gave me a little inkling into how much testing and trying and failing I do to create this thing. That, just seeing the scale of the amount of cool stuff that we have. I mean, if you added up the actual retail price of all that stuff, it'd be embarrassing. And we sold it for pennies on the dollar. How many people do you think I had to pay to give stuff to at the end of it?
There were a few very happy people that went home and straight to eBay, I think. Good for them.
So, but that's cool. I mean, I was going to throw it away anyway. Stuff that, I bought, tried, used it too long to return. I'm not a big believer in buying stuff and using it and returning it. I don't know. I don't want people doing that to me, so I don't want to do that. I don't care how big the company is. Maybe this is my folly, but I just believe that if I buy something and I'm using it, then I should keep it and sell it on my own, or throw it away or give it away or do something with it. I found that giving stuff away is much less, and I know people are going to call me stingy and stuff, but I'm not a big fan of giving stuff away, and just people don't appreciate it. And then they make me work harder to give it away to them. So that's why I put a price tag on even things that I would have otherwise not cared to sell for $5. Just, I think there's a value there. There are people that value it that actually put some money in on the product. And so, yeah, it was great. And then, we had the live event, which I'm so angry that, YouTube Live is so darn janky. And so I'm sitting there, everything looks great on my end, and I'm talking for an hour straight, and then I go back and watch it, and it's like a frame rate of like 5 frames per second. It's crazy, and it looks terrible. So, but anyway, we got the message across, because, stuff that I never thought in a million years that anybody would want, people bought. So it's really humbling, the power of this platform that I've stumbled upon, the value of it. It's humbling. So it was cool. It's cool to meet people too. And I went home and went to sleep at 7 o'clock. Me talking for 10 hours straight.
It was a lot of fun because we met some people who we had interactions with via email or phone call, but you put a face with a name. There were some interesting cars here. Did you see any cars that kind of piqued your interest at all, or no?
Yeah, cars aren't the thing for me. I'm a bit of a snob because, I have the cars that I want, and so I don't really care about other cars as much. And I want to. Some people, they have a passion for it. They go to Cars and Coffee and car spotting and seeing what's available and then envisioning. I've always been so, even before I had the cars that I wanted, less enamored in the seeing of cars, because I'm like, if I don't own it, then I don't really care much about it. I'm just being honest here, and what my process goes through my head. So I love seeing all the cool cars here because I know that each one of those cars means something to each person. But me and going oogling over what some other car has, maybe I'm just selfish, but it just doesn't. That's not the thing for me. The thing for me is the people. I don't like to admit it, but it's the what's the story. What's your story? Tell your story. Give me an opportunity to tell my story, to share some knowledge. They share some knowledge, and the thing I really get a rise out of is learning something. Like Travis brought his buckets, and in his style, and to share what he's been working on, and that's cool to me. And then it's really fun for me to I don't even care about the sale. But the one guy that came that I sold a bunch of stuff to, the fun for me was taking him through the process. And then the validation that, yes, I was giving him valuable information because he bought it all. There's a lot of stuff. And so the real impact on me personally is someone comes, they validated me because I invited them and they showed up. I'm then hopefully validating them by shaking their hand and saying thanks for coming. Or even just acknowledging, and then the ability for me to be able to talk through stuff, share what I've been working on, or answer a question they might have is what's really exciting to me.
It was neat to see you in your element. Like you said, you were talking, you were teaching, you were showing, and I know a lot of times you say you're not a people person, but like you said,
well, in fairness, I am just sitting there talking about myself the whole time.
Well,
but I think that's if you're coming here, that's kind of what you want, and I've been shy about that for a lot of my life, in that the only value I have to provide is the experience that I have, and that ends up to certain people coming across as I'm talking about myself, and to regular people that's the way it does come across, but to this demographic, then I think that's what they want. That's what I want. If I go to Auto Geek, I want Mike Phillips to tell his stories. I don't want to tell mine. I want to get out of it as much as I can, or Jason Rose, or whoever, whatever place I'm at, or if I'm at Porsche headquarters, I want to learn from the people that are there, not and so that means they have to tell their story, and so. I do feel like I'm grandstanding, but I just power through it and say, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to tell the story the way that I think needs to be told, and then, I think it was somewhat successful.
You would make a good high school teacher. It's what I've heard, and this is mostly true because I taught high school. My wife teaches elementary school. Elementary teachers get into it because they love the kids, and the content is just sort of whatever. I'll teach them what I need to. High school teachers get into it. We love the content. We love math, science, whatever. And the kids are just there as a byproduct. I could just sit up there and teach all day. They just happen to be there. That's nice. And so I kind of saw that in you. I'm like, okay, now he's in his element. Megan even said it. She's like, he was smiling. He was so happy. And he's just in his element over there showing people all these hoses and stuff. So it was kind of neat to see that.
And I think that's the longer-term goal of Obsessed Garage, is to get to the point to where I'm just on the proverbial stage, talking about something I'm so passionate about. That's why I think I want to eventually build an amphitheater and then host, topics, host discussions, knowledge summits, where we share. And detailing is one thing that just lends itself really well to teaching, but just. And again, it's not about me showing up as I know everything. It's about here's what I've learned. YouTube, this is so powerful for me, is I share what I've learned, and then I read every single comment and work my way through it, and that's why I fight the stupidity so much, because there's value in knowledge sharing, and I do my best to sift through and just read the words that people are typing, because a lot of times they're kind of snarky and you're stupid, this is the way you should do it, but I try to read it as this is another thought process, And sometimes I'll fire back if it's really stupid. But that ability to be on stage, which YouTube has afforded me the ability to do, and share what experience I have, whether it's the right or wrong experience, just share it, and then everybody gets the benefit. I get the benefit of learning from others, and then they get the benefit if they've never heard that process or never thought about it that way. And then again, I'm going out to other places and asking them questions, like with Billy, at Presidential, sitting there, and just picking his brain, pulling stuff out of it, and just hearing a different perspective. I went into the thing with Billy, you'll see in the videos, where I'm like, why would anybody need a pro coating? And by the end of it, when I left some high spots, I'm like, well, shoot, now I understand why. It was something that I developed an opinion based on my experience, and that opinion was probably incorrect. And so, I think the goal of all of this is to be able to learn from each other.
All right, I want to go to a couple questions I'm going to take from Instagram here. Do you think you'll be offering the Griot's correcting cream after using it? What are your final thoughts on it? I
don't think so. I still like Jescar better. I do think, I don't want to confuse people. I had some, and I've used it a couple of times. My friend Joe Metlow from Next Level Auto Detail, I think his company's called. And if you remember back earlier in the videos, maybe a year and a half ago, Joe came to my wash bay, and we did a Rupes versus Griot's polisher correlation or a comparison video. And he was a big fan of fast correcting cream, and a lot of people are. I think it's something that may be of value, but I don't want to confuse people by having too many choices. I want to keep it simple. Both of them do pretty much the same thing, Jescar, a correction compound, and that. There are pros and cons to both. I may do something like that. I'm probably going to add M101, which is a solvent-based, much heftier polish, really aggressive compounding polish. But the point of me building this consultative, ObsessedGarage.com, this consultative retail store, is to not just go out and put a bunch of stuff in it to give people. I don't want to give people 75 options. I want to keep it as understandable as possible. That selfishly, that also keeps some of the weight off of us too, and being able to deliver a service without disappointing people. Providing them with as much information as possible to make an educated decision without me having to get on the phone to every single person. That's the methodology. So, yeah, it's good. It smells really good. But I don't think it replaces Jescar. So I doubt I'll add it because of that.
Any closer to finding a 991.2 GT3 RS? And if you had a choice, would you go back to Sapphire Blue?
Yeah, if I had a choice, I'd probably do Golf Blue, GOLF Blue, which is a little bit. I don't think there's a metallic in that, no, I'm not going to search for one. Most of them are going to be 15 to 30,000 over sticker, and then mine's going to be 15 to 30,000 under sticker, and then the sticker on whatever variant I would do on the new one is going to be another, say, 20 to 30,000 more. So let's say in a worst case scenario, that's a $90,000 swing. I'm just not doing that. So I may reserve the opportunity for getting a 992, the newest variant. And so I might start working hard to get an allocation on that when it becomes available. We'll see. I just the differences are subtle between a .2 and a .1. I would like to have a .2, but I'm not disappointed in my .1. So no, I don't think I'm going to chase it unless it just falls on my lap.
Does the ceramic coating provide any protection to rock chips at all?
No, zero.
And then are you planning to PPF the 1M?
No, it looks way too good without it. If somebody gets the car and raffle, they may add it to it, but I just don't think it's necessary. BMWs do pretty well with rock chips, and the type of driving I'm going to be doing in that car, it's just not necessary. Same thing with my M3. So, yeah, I'm really glad I took it off. It looks so good. The car's been sitting in here. I'm waiting for the injectors to come, and I'm putting the exhaust on after this video. So yeah, I don't want to drive it around with a. I've learned, again, this goes back to the experience of sharing on YouTube, and there's lots of guys that have lots of experience with N54s. The problem with N54s is that there's a lot of young, inexperienced people that don't really know what they're talking about, that are providing you their opinion, and so I'm sifting through what I believe to be valuable information and what not, because I'm not an expert on that engine, and so I change the coils, the plugs. But what tends to happen is when you do that, then you may have injector failure. So I just ponied up the $1,700 and bought injector puller. I talked to Alex at Alpine MSS, and he'll code in do the work for me, rather than me having to buy the ISTA software or whatever it's called. Once I do the injectors and the exhaust, I'll start driving it a lot more and sharing with you more what it's like. It's taken a lot of work to get it up to my standard, but yeah, no PPF.
All right, and the next couple questions that I got from a very observant person, a lot of times we get emails about, I'm stuck in this cubicle, I want to leave, I want to do my own thing, you did it, what are your secrets, blah blah blah, advice, and so I think a couple of these questions would address that. So one, what were some of the largest obstacles you faced going full time with Obsessed Garage?
I'm still formulating what my story is. So let's say for the last, even early on, so let's say from 2 years into financial advising on, I became an advocate, for the career choice. And so very early on, like when I first started, when I walked in the door, my mentor, Jim, was just regurgitating all this information. Right? He's just spitting out all this stuff. And he'd done that probably hundreds of times for hundreds of other young advisors. And I took all of that stuff and I actually made a manual. Like I created a book and created a manual, because they put the fear of God in you, and that they're gonna test and make sure you're ready to go. And I think most people just don't ever take that to heart. They're never by the time they get their license, which is about 4 months in, they're not ready. And so I wanted to be the day one I could manage money and know what to say to people right from the beginning. And so I created this formalized manual, and then I published some specs of my cold calling statistics and things like that. Or I didn't publish them, but I gave them to the trainee coach and said, hey, here's this is just some interesting data, and provided to them. And then anytime I did that, they would share it to the whole darn company. And so I'd become this kind of young answer guy to other young guys that were looking for answers. This has been the theme of my entire life. Same thing in home theater, same thing in what I'm doing now. But I was always, I had this clear path. This is what you did. You start, you study, you get your CFP, then you cold call, or you figure out a way to network market. And so I had a very clear path, what you would need to do. I'd recommended that you go and dual major in accounting and finance, and then hopefully get your CPA exam knocked out, and then get a CFA right away, and then you can get your CFP a little longer in. So if I could do it again, I knew exactly what to tell people what to do. This is exactly how you do it. And I was such a huge advocate for the career choice. And then, of course, the obsessive compulsive disorder diagnosis and the start of YouTube and this chasing of Obsessed Garage has changed my thought process. And so, to be honest, I don't know what to frickin' tell people what to do. There's so much effort in what I've done, but so much right place, right time, right circumstances. I think the only thing that I can suggest is to be open to what opportunity presents itself, and it's so hard to see. It's not something, you have to really be open, and you have to be looking for it. And so with Obsessed Garage, I saw this opportunity in that this is information that I want, and it's information that I wanted, and I've acquired through lots of, again, the circumstances lined up for me, and then I made a lot of money. So I was able to waste a lot of money on a lot of cool stuff, and buy and try and fail so many times chasing stuff that really isn't supported very well from an information perspective, like a Krenzler pressure washer. There wasn't a picture. There wasn't, like, where does the water go in? Like, how do I turn it on? Like, these simple things that they should be making videos on, they just didn't do. And so I saw this opportunity of, I took the flyer, bought the thing, and for every Krenzler, there's like 17 other things that I bought and failed with. It just weren't right. It didn't pan out to be what I thought they were going to be. That was a garage sale was a good example of lots of some of the stuff you were probably looking at and saying, what the heck is that? Like, what would you even use that for? And that's been my talent. And so I knew through being completely open by this life event of freaking out, and then being open to listen to others, but still being stubborn enough and headfast enough to not listen to anybody say, no, that's not going to work. So this confluence of events, and then the right age, right time, right experience made me morph into Obsessed Garage. And if they hadn't walked me out the door in wealth management against my will, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd still be doing it part-time. My parents would probably still be in Pennsylvania. It would be a little side gig that I'd always be fighting the regulators and stuff to explain, look, I still got this. And so I think that in the next 4 or 5 years, I'll be able to answer that question a little better. I'll be able to understand what happened, why it happened, and then how to coach other people how to do that. But I think the only thing that I know at this point is that being open to the opportunity, and don't let anybody frickin' tell you that it's not going to work. Because who cares if it doesn't work? Just do something else. And so if you fail, I wasn't comfortable in failing, like be poor and lose my house and live in a single wide trailer and that kind of thing. So you have to be willing to figure out how much you're willing to give up, and then and then hopefully you won't ever have to, like I haven't had to get anything up, So I lost $1 zillion in income, but we've replaced it rather quickly, and then hopefully double and triple and quadruple that. And so I think that being open, and then having a keen sense of who you are and what you're about. And I get it all the time where guys have a tendency to like they have this idea, and they're going to leverage everything they got for the idea. And it's really typical with engineer types, guys that are much smarter than me that know how to make stuff. You have to remember that if you make it and no one knows about it, then it doesn't do you any good. And so you don't double down on something you're not sure if it's going to work. Figure out a way to work your way, side hustle into it. And then when the side hustle becomes problematic for your main hustle, then it automatically becomes the main hustle. Wealth management became an inconvenience to me. And I fought that and I didn't want that to be so, and then eventually became such an inconvenience that they walked me out the door. And I'm so grateful that they, I'm not mad at them. I'm so grateful they did that. Short-sighted on their part, because I was going to become one of the biggest financial advisors in the world, but I wouldn't have been as passionate about it. So I'm glad that I'm not headed in that direction, because I would have never let it go. I mean, how do you let go zillions of dollars? I mean, it was just, because you can't see it. You're blind to the future. You're blind to what the thing is that you're meant to do.
So then, now that you've made that change, obviously you're pleased with the change. What are some of the big rewards, or what are some of the things now that you're like, okay, this is a reason that I'm glad that I did this, or this is a reason, or
it's the constant producing. And this takes a while, and I'm not 100% there yet, but I'd say I'm 80% of the way there yet, in enjoying the journey. The journey, enjoy the chaos. I mean, you've probably seen that a little bit in me. Like, that garage sale would have stressed me out to the max, and I'm just rolling with it. 2 days before is when I'm putting everything together, where normally I would have planned out months in advance. I'm like, hey, let's do this. And then I know that you guys got my back, that we'll get it done. And so I don't have the same Tasmanian devilness that I may have had even 6 months ago. I'm quickly growing into that aloof CEO type. And what I'm learning is to let people do what they do. Let you guys that are experts in what I've asked you to do, let you own that position, and so the I forget what the question was. Where was I going with that?
Talking about the rewards, like,
Yeah.
okay, now that
Oh, yeah. So forget this whole idea of I can go whenever I want and take whatever vacation I want. That's bull crap. Who cares about that? That's for lazy people. It's not about freedom. It's about, so I guess it is about freedom, but a different type of freedom. It's the freedom to make the decision. It's the freedom of whether or not I want to share with you how much we sold or not. It's the freedom, because if I did that in wealth management, I'd be chastised. I'd be fired. It's like, or if you do that in someone else's company, you do that in some corporate environment, you share too much, which is understandable. You share too much. Like, to be honest, I don't want you going out and doing stupid stuff, because you're representing the company. And so the freedom that I have to make the decision on what should be shared and what shouldn't, and do what I know and feel is right, instead of somebody else telling me what to do, who, excuse the arrogance of this, at times the person on the front lines knows more than the CEO or the CFO or the executive, the C-suite executive team. But the executive team's job is to protect the brand, protect the company. And so you get to a point where they lose touch. And so when you're working in that cubicle, you may know more than the guy that's running the company knows. And then that's when that happens, and they're not affording you, or they're not carving out a place for you to create and do what it is you know to be best, then it's time to move on. And you're going to be miserable if you just continue to fight that. And so if you have a CEO or you have a business owner or wherever you're working, if they can't, first of all, if you don't have the balls to go in and tell them, they don't know. But if they're just protecting the bottom line and maybe a little short-sighted, then you need to move on, because it's their company, it's not yours, And so that's what I was always getting in trouble, because that kept happening. I was butting up against the ceiling of what my potential could be, and when you butt up against that, you have to see it. You have to be willing to. I didn't see it. I just got lucky that the side hustle became the main hustle. Hope that makes sense.
All right, we have a couple questions here about updates on home theater. I know you've talked a little bit about making some changes there, maybe getting rid of that one big subwoofer, but you might have a new project. What's going on there?
Actually, funny. I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff. So I got new lights to try. So hopefully they improve the lighting in there for when the lights are on. I'm going to move the couch up probably another foot or so, move it a little closer. I've decided against the projector, so I bought a 77-inch OLED with the proceeds from my garage sale. So I bought a 77-inch instead of doing like a 120-inch projector. To do a projector was going to cost a fortune. And so I like a direct display better anyway. So 77 OLED, I'm going to sell the 2 subs I have in there, and I'm going to make some subs. So just for the fun of it, we'll see how good they are. But I'm going to make, there's some Dayton Audio from partsexpress.com. They make a CNC'd box that I'm going to assemble. I'm going to video the whole process. So I'm going to do 4 subs, 4 18s, all powered by 1,000 watt amp. So that'll give me a little bit more even dispersion of low frequency stuff. I'm going to take out the fan in there that I never use, and I'm going to put another acoustic panel over above it, and that'll be the for sort of 2.0 of the home theater. I've taken out the Control 4 remote and putting a Logitech back in there. Control 4 is great. I just don't have control of it, and I don't want to call Sebastian every time I need to get it programmed. Then we have issues because I have a firewall, and so we can't get through. And so I yanked the Control 4 remote out because I can't. It kept failing because of need updates and things like that. And so I think the main speakers are going to stay. I don't have any intention to change any of the Revel Performa 3s, but the subs are going to be a better dispersion. We'll see. I bought one sub to make. I'm not really a homemade kind of guy, But to do the subs I wanted was like $10,000, and I'm just not prepared to spend that. So I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna make them. It costs like $800 to make each one, and a lot of the components are the same components that the companies that I would buy them from, like Seaton or JTR. It's the same stuff. So we'll see how it goes, how janky it is, and how good it is. So that's the plan for the home theater. So I'll shoot that. I'll video that, and get everybody telling me I'm an idiot and your TV's too small, and I don't freaking care. It's my home theater. I'm gonna do what I want.
All right, so home theater videos coming soon.
Yep.
How about install video on the HMS Exhaust? Is that coming?
Yep, this afternoon. The video probably won't be up till next week because we're working through the Animal Z series, which is probably 10 episodes or so. We have another video on the Comet coming, where I figured out how to get a 90-degree elbow on it so you can actually put an inlet hose. The Comet should be here on Thursday. I think I only have like maybe 6 left of the 18 I have coming. And so if you want one, you better buy it now, because otherwise it's going to be months. It's just going to be the same situation we have with Krenzla. And for those asking, the Comet is not a replacement for the Krenzla's way better. But the Comet is a nice alternative at $600. But we really you need a hose and a gun and a wand to really make it, and some components to make it better, a foam cannon, not the junk that it comes with, or the kits that they provide different kits that are just really janky. So you don't want any of that stuff.
All right, so Comets are in sometime, hopefully this week, tomorrow.
Yeah, so those of you who bought one or waiting, it should be going out probably Friday and Saturday. You'll get tracking on it. Hopefully they box it. The reason why it took so long is I'm having them rebox them so they don't show up broken. Yeah, so then Bryce has almost got all the packages up, so you'll be able to buy different versions of the Comet with whether you're going to install it on the wall or you're going to use it portably. There's some little. This is my value prop. You can buy it anywhere, but I'm figuring out what you need, and most like Northern Tool doesn't freaking know what you need. They don't know anything about it. So that's the goal, is to be able to provide the solution rather than just the retail product.
Got a good question here, and I know this one will make Matt happy, so I'm going to say this one here. Any of the test power washer kits still available? The answer is no.
Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, we still have that one K4.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well,
so we have one K4 left. So if you want that,
email Matt at Obsessed Garage.
Email Chris at Obsessed Garage. Matt will ignore it. Yeah, that's the last one. Funny, we opened up the K4. The motor in that is like worlds better than any other motor and any of the other things. The problem is the K4 has a stupid proprietary connections. So you have the best pump out of all of them, but you have the worst connections. It's sad. Maybe someday I can get them to put that pump in the K1700. But yeah, I do. Once the K1700s get here, so I think our account should be set up here soon. So once I order the K1700s, then I'll do the wrap-up video. We'll make the data pretty and then publish it. And then once that's done, then I'll buy the Stupid Joe SPX 4000 or 9004 and the AR or whatever, the 630 TSS or the hot TSS, and I'll test those out and compare all those. I mean, the AR seems like a good solution, but it's $800. You might as well just buy the Krenzla. Unless you buy it from some really goofy online site. I know there's some goofy sites that have it for like $650, but they can't get it. You're gonna be waiting 3 months for that thing. It's a bullcrap price. That's probably $5 above cost on those things. So, anyway.
Aside from the water spots, do you have any downside or any complaints about the E92?
No. Oh, the squeaky seat. So I got to fix the seat squeaky, the new M Performance seat. We've got to code out the wear for the brakes. The brakes are amazing. So I'm going to go down probably mid next week down to PSI, and we're going to shoot a series talking more about the brakes and bedding them and the process of installing them and all of that. And then we're going to put the HREs on. I'll show you mounting and balancing of them. PSI has new state-of-the-art machines, and I'm going to share with aligning it. The M3 is coming together. And I'm thinking about, if the 1M raffle or sweepstakes or whatever you want to frickin' call it is successful, maybe we'll do that with the M3. and then I'll go look for like the lowest mile, most dialed in version and do it all over again. We'll see.
Any updates on Rupes Mark III? And then when they come in, is there any plan on discounting the Mark II?
That'll all be dictated by Rupes. I think they'll probably have a Mark II discount, but who knows? We may not. I mean, most places are probably are buying less of them. Maybe that would be a smart problem. Maybe we should buy like 100 of them, so we have them to sell at a discount. Because then people want that. But Rupes, the discount won't be big anyway, so I wouldn't get too excited. You're not going to be buying Mark IIs for 50% off. That's for darn sure. It'll be like 10% off. So is that really going to change your life to save $40? To some people, saving $40 is like the biggest thing in the world to them. I think if you're buying a $440 thing, what's $40? You're in it deep. And maybe if it means $40 means that much, you probably shouldn't be buying it. But the Mark IIIs, we don't know. They're supposed to be shipping in March.
Right. The beginning of March is when they're shipping. So,
but just be aware that there's a good chance that they haven't taken our order yet, right?
Correct. I submitted it, but they're not going to do anything with it until March.
Yeah. So I wouldn't, Rupes has done this before where, it's a lot of moving parts that they have to put together. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it take a little longer than we think.
Update on bread financing option, or just kind of an explanation again of what that's about, because that is actually now today live in the store. I saw.
Does it work?
Well, we haven't found out yet. When the first customer tries it out, we'll find out.
Well, we had one guy said it didn't work, but I don't know. Bread is up 6 months interest free. Now that I'm no longer a financial advisor, I can advise you to go and lever yourself to buy cool stuff. Use it responsibly. The maximum approval is $5,000, 6% interest free, 12-month interest bearing, and 24-month interest bearing is an option. There's no like penalties for it. It's just takes six months. If you spent $5,000, it takes divided by 6 and spreads it out. That's how it works. So at the end of it, you're paid off with no interest. The 12-month is I think 6.99%. That's the current rate. That'll fluctuate depending on what's going on. And the 24-month is 7.99%. But it's pretty sick. You just go in the store. You'll see a button next to each product. And once it's all up and running, I'm sure there'll be some bugs we have to work out. Once it's all up and running, you should be able to click the button and seamlessly transact. And buy whatever you want. The cool thing for me is I'm not underwriting it. They're underwriting it, so they just send me the money once you buy the stuff. I have to pay, 3.1% is the simple transaction fee, a one-time transaction fee I pay on the interest-bearing, and I think it was like 4.5% or something on the, or 4 point something on the interest-free financing. And then periodically we'll run promotions where we do 18 months no interest. That one costs a lot. That's over 10%, but I think it's something cool to offer people. Maybe you were looking at getting a Krensla, and it's $2,000 for the thing you want. You do it, spread it out over 6 months. I think we'll probably see some increase in sales because of that. I think it's something that's necessary to have in a store with the stuff that we sell, the expense cabinets, things like that.
Do you have any updates on OGHQ 3.0? I know we talked about this last week, and you also got a lot of emails about people wanting to help and provide you information, and what's the story there?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things to note. I mean, I'm not going to have like massive custom. This isn't like the end-all be-all place, so I'm not going to have the ability to do massive custom everything that I want. Because the guy's taking risk, and that he's putting up the money, building the building, and I'm just going to show up and make payments. I'll own it, but and so doing some really crazy custom stuff is just not going to happen. It needs to be a building that if I for some reason backed out, that the guy could sell or lease out. So there's going to be some genericness to it. But Mark sent me an email just the other day of really got my head on straight of what it will look like. So as I get more into it, I'll share more what the plan is. And thanks to everybody, it's been super helpful. We'll be talking about the podcast studio, and I'm going to make I've decided in the entryway, I'm going to make an unboxing studio as well, like a big giant table where we can unbox stuff and have, general discussions about product. And so I'm going to build that in the warehouse. And then, I have a pretty good idea of what everything's going to look like. And then the warehousing part will morph over time as we learn more and figure out what our volume is.
But this is a month-long process at the least.
Yeah, I mean, we got 3 or 4 months before we even get a permit. So he's working on a site plan to see what we can even fit. Then we have to do a feasibility study to make sure that we can get the right amount of concrete on there. That's going to be the problem, is it's a small plot, and we're trying to put a big building on it. That could present a problem. So I'm not counting any chickens until I get the keys, until I see the slab get poured anyway.
All right, let's talk about the store here a little. I know you mentioned the Comet stuff is coming. Those are coming tomorrow. Do you have any updates on the spray bottles, on Prevost, interior, on those little? I had a few people actually ask about those plugs for the hoses. So what's any updates you might have there?
I don't know what's going on with the plugs. I'll have to, if he's listening, maybe he can shoot me an email and say what's up. I mean, I had to order the stock and then machine them, and so I've ordered them. We'll see when I would think in a few weeks. Bottles were ordered. They'll probably take a month to get here, and then we'll have to photo them, put them up in the store. Let's see.
Prevost.
Yeah, Prevost. Bryce, where are we at on Prevost? He's working through it.
I got 500 gigabytes of footage of Adam's car going through right now. So.
Yeah, he's working on Adam's detail stuff. So Prevost, one at a time. We're kind of working through it. So yeah, all that stuff is coming now. We're finally. I'm feeling a sense of catching up a little bit, and so now I'm going to create some more chaos. I've got to do scan grip stuff and interior stuff. So I'm gonna have to chase those, and also DeFelsco. I'm gonna get that, chase that, figure out what the suite of paint depth gauge products would look like. So yeah, we're rolling through it one at a time. The last Karcher stuff also should be up here soon, with the K2, 3, 4, 5 stuff. So we'll have the packages done for that. So we'll have the configurator. And I want to revamp how the Krenzla pages look. There's going to be a Krenzla portable solutions page and a Krenzla custom install solutions page, and continue to reorganize. Kind of like what I do with my cabinets. Just reorganize, take everything out of the cabinet and reorganize it, and try to make it more understandable and easier for people to buy. I don't like to call anywhere. I don't like to email anywhere. I just want to figure it out on my own, and I know that's the general audience, and so I want to make it as robust but as understandable as possible. So that's what's going on with the store.
Sonic cabinets. I know you're going to tour.
Mm-hmm.
We have a couple folks asking, is there still a wait time there? What's the...
Yeah, they've freaking no idea what hit them. So they got nothing. They've got like nothing in stock. So we're 6 weeks to delivery. So you want to get your order in and just wait. I know that sucks. It sucks for both of us because you pay for it and then I got to pay for it. And so it's not like I'm sitting on your money. They're sitting on your money. So we're going to go iron out and figure that out. I'm going to try to make some projections. They were doing large dealerships, and they would know like 6 months in advance. And so they had the retail store online, but they weren't doing a lot of retail stuff. It was more aviation and dealerships. And so they'd have a dealership buy $100,000 worth of cabinets, and they'd know 4 months in advance so they could get it all built and ordered. And so now I'm doing, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 cabinet orders, and they don't have it. I didn't know that. I thought they had a big warehouse full of stuff. And so now we're working on building out stock. I'm also really interested to go see what MSS Plus looks like as a ultra high-end line, and get pricing on that and share with you what it actually costs. And get rid of. That's what I'm going to talk him into letting me doing, is actually pricing it, so you can dream about it.
So what you've got now, what is that?
That's MSS.
Okay.
MSS Plus is like 3 steps up. It's like ultimate.
And is that something you'd want here, or is that just for other people?
And that's what I would put in my garage if I'm rich and famous someday, you know. But it's not practical for most. But if you're building the ultimate garage, that's going to be the cabinet array to do. The drawer glides hold 550 pounds. You know, they're, you know, whatever it is, 16 gauge steel. The fit and finish on them is insane. So at least from what I can tell, we'll find out here this week. But you know, let's say a 9-drawer cabinet from MSS is $900. It's probably $2,000. You know, so you know, 2.5 times the cost is what we're looking at.
I have a couple questions. People wanting to come visit and say hello. We discuss this from time to time. You know, the best thing to do is email me. And find out, hey, are we going to be here? We got a visitor today, Scott, who stopped in from New York, and he's sitting in here with us right now. But if you're interested in being here when Matt's here, usually the best thing to do is to email me and say, hey, is he going to be around? Because I can look at his calendar and let you know if he's going to be away on a project or something.
I just want to stay home. And I'm not going anywhere after these freaking 57 trips I have planned.
You say that each time we talk about it, and then you keep putting stuff on here.
Yeah. We need to talk about lighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's at the end of May.
Right. You added that trip after saying you didn't want to do any more trips. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why is that? What is the deal there? Why did you say, okay, I'll do that trip?
So a couple guys are OG viewers reached out and said, look, I know you've been searching for lights. The lights we have are good, but I want to offer a full solution. Recessed large, recessed small, on ceiling, a better fixture. So we're going to, from the ground up, build and design lights. I don't even know what I want, but they have this massive catalog of product, and then we'll be able to pull from all that product, and I'm going to be able to say, this is what I want. And so we're going to have a full suite of lighting for people in their garages. And
so that's the trip. Where are they located?
Oh, it's the air conditioner. Like, what is that freaking noise?
That's just Florida, right?
South Florida, yeah, okay. Stewart. Yeah, that's going to be insane. I'll video it. And I'm going to share with you what we're coming up with. We're talking about color transitioning lights you can change the color temp. Just all kinds of insane. We're going to build, they said, whatever you want, we can build it. So we'll see. So yeah, I'm going to be chasing that here soon. That's part of the longer term plan, to have a full solution and then make the solution better and better and better.
All right, so while we're discussing traveling and plans here, speak here about the upcoming RUPES training.
Yeah, I had 3 people signed up for the second group. So we're getting too close. So I transferred the one of the 3 to the first Monday. So we have 1 spot left for the first group. So we're only doing 1 instead of 2. It's the first thing I've done that I've failed at. I'm disappointed. There's a lot of money though. I get it, in a weird time of year. And so, I thought we would have it sold out immediately. So that's why I did 2. 1 is probably better for me, because I'm wound so tightly. So yeah, we're doing the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday event, and not group 2. So we have 1 spot. Go in there and buy it right now, so you nail it down. Otherwise, I mean, I know that one will sell out. So get the last spot.
Let's see. Do you have any updates on your trip to California? I know you were talking with some of the Jay Leno's Garage people. Anything going there?
Got all the pressure washer stuff lined up and out to them. And what we're going to do, we're going to build a cart. So that'll be interesting to some of you guys. So we're going to actually we're going to use the metal fab guys to fab up some sort of cart, and then we're going to install the pressure washer and hose reel on the cart, and then integrate it with their deionized system, the big tank they have there, so they can move it in and out of the facility. So that's that's going to be a neat little project. And then I'll go on the smoking tire after that, and then go into McGuire's to do some stuff.
And this is a good question, because I actually wondered this myself. Can you tell us about the difference between Prevost when it comes to Euro high flow versus industrial?
So there are, I think Prevost has 7 different standards, but there are, I believe, 8 or 9 different standardized fittings. From what I understand, what the Prevost people from France told me is that, years and years and years ago, one company would come up with a coupler and a plug, and then they would patent that, and so that another company wouldn't have to pay the other company the patent royalties. They would just change it and create a new standard. And so you have regionalized standards that have kind of cropped up throughout the world. There's a Japanese standard, there's a European, the high flow standard, there's the TrueFlate standard, which is the west coast of the U.S. There's industrial ISO 6, which is called industrial fittings. So there are all these different standards that we use. That's the type of plug. It's how the plug connects to the coupler, and they're not universal. They don't connect to each other. So the most common here in the United States is ISO 6. Which is the industrial standard, which is Prevost has is a blue color. And so I was reluctant to add 2 standards, but I know that so many people have that, and have gotten so many people ask for it that we've adopted the industrial standard as a backup to the Euro High Flow. Euro High Flow is a superior standard. The hole is bigger. So the hole in the plug flows more air, so you have less parasitic loss, so it's a superior connection. And so Euro High Flow is what I've adopted. It's as simple as change out your plugs and couplers. You change the plugs on all your tools. It'll cost you $25 at the most. So once you get a new hose reel and a new hose and all of that stuff, we do the couplers. Once you adopt that standard, it's really easy to change your tools over, and you just have less parasitic loss. So that's what the main difference is. And you'd never know that unless you had to figure it out. So when I first saw it, my mind was exploded. I'm like, I don't know, what does that even mean?
And we have both of those in the store.
Correct. So we have ISO 6, industrial standard, the blue ones, and then with the green ones. The green ones are Euro High Flow. So if you buy a Euro High Flow, almost certainly your tools are not going to fit in it. So you're going to need new plugs for your tools. But the plugs are like $1.80 or something like that. So, buy a 10-pack of plugs and swap. How many tools do you got? 20 at the most. Most people have like 3, 5, and you just swap them all out. That's what I did. So you get some female plugs and some female threaded plugs and some male threaded plugs, and you're good to go.
You got any update on the, I'm going to say this incorrectly, Chatham Garage?
No. No, Bob has had some health problems, so I don't know. I'll wait to hear back from him. So, but the garage is done. I just need to go up and video it.
Do you have any other, I know you mentioned this before, maybe some other washers that you want to test, some of the higher end ARs? Are there any out there that you're like, okay, maybe down the road we're going to test and put out the specs on?
Yeah. The Sunjo SPX, the 9004, 9007, and then the AR 630 TSS, the hot version. Having hot is kind of stupid because unless you have a boiler, pretty much any pressure washers can handle up to 145 degrees. Like my heat pump water heater only goes to 140, and by the time it actually gets to me in the pipes, it's probably less than that, and that'll scald your hands. So unless you have a burner, like all the Krenslows, the Comets, that they're good to like 140, 145 degrees. So you're fine to run normal hot water from the tap through it. I know if you have an older or you have a boiler of some sort in your house, you might be able to get 180 degree water, but most modern homes with plastic pipes I don't think can handle much more than 150. I might be making that up.
Here's an interesting question for you. What's 1 or 2 things that you're not obsessed about?
Let's see. Shoot.
Pants.
Yeah. Style. Apparently. I would like to be. I'm just not. I'm trying to think about anything that I would care about. I obsess about pretty much everything. It's just where I choose to focus my energy. Like I would rather do the laundry myself because Michelle doesn't do it the way that I would do it. but I've had to let stuff go. In the beginning and early on, I would do everything myself. It goes back to me thinking I'm better than everybody. And it's funny. I see this all the time, especially on other people's videos. I mean, I say, look, I used to think I was better than everybody. And then people say, he thinks he's better than everybody. I said, no, I used to think I was better than everybody. And they forget the used to part. But back when I used to think I was better than everybody, I would do it all myself. And I can't do it now. Like I would think I could do your job better than you could, but I can't. I can't do it. I think I could do Bryce's job better than Bryce could. I think I could do Michelle's job better than Michelle could. That's just, call it arrogance, whatever you want. I would do it differently, but I've had to learn to let go. And what really helped with that were kids, because they freaking mess everything up. They mess up your bank account, they mess up your floors, they mess up your walls, they mess everything up. And so I've slowly let go. And I'm so much better for it. I eventually let my assistant in wealth management do some work instead of trying to do it all. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought up laundry, actually, because we have a question here from a Michelle M. in Lady Lake, Florida. And her question is, did you put white towels in the washing machine this morning with black clothes?
Yeah, well, those black clothes were washed a bunch. So it should be fine.
You have your answer, Michelle M., whoever you might be.
So just thinking about this logically, I looked at the clothes that I put in there. I'm like, I don't have enough to do a dark load or enough to do a light load. And so all of those things that were darks have been washed like 37 times, so it should be fine. That's the philosophy. We'll go see if my clothes, if the towels are pink.
That's good. What's your favorite car you've ever owned?
E92 M3.
Can you give a shout out to my wife, Sydney? No, we will not.
Too late.
Favorite workout gear and shoes? Like, what do you have to have when you go to the gym?
I'm really liking the Nike Retaliation TRs, which kind of goes against normal because they're kind of cheap. They're like $50. Metcons blow. They're like the worst workout shoes ever. I know you wear them, but I think they're terrible. They squeak. They're squeaky, and you're terrible to run in. So what I have on now are get it on camera. These are Nano 6s, which I think were the best. Nano 2s and Nano 6s are the best Reebok, so that's what I usually wear to work out in. I just got the new Fronings, which are really sweet. They're not so great to work out in because the Reeboks have such a big toe box. My feet aren't that freaking big. I mean, I don't think anybody's feet are that wide. And that's why I think a lot of people like the Nikes better because they don't have as big of a toe box, but then they squeak. So I like any kind of hybrid working out in the Retaliation TRs, like if you're running and lifting and things like that. If I'm doing more, CrossFit specific, like lifting things, then I'd rather do these. I had Nike Romaleos 2s. I hated those things. It freaking killed my feet.
That's the lifters, right?
Yeah, they're terrible. So I like the hybrid lifters, like the Reeboks are not full on, like cardboard. They're kind of a hybrid. But, you don't want to deadlift or anything in those because you come up too far, but they're great for squatting and things. So like squats, cleans, squat cleans, things like that. The snatches, I prefer to do those with like the Reebok lifters that are kind of a hybrid.
So when it comes to your shoes, then do you like detail your shoes too? I know some guys out there.
No, I just throw them away and buy new ones. I'm a buy new shoes guy a lot. Apparently too often, Michelle tells me. And I try to throw them away, and then she digs them out of the trash. And then she's like, I'm going to donate them. I'm like, who wants my stinky old shoes? And then, like, for instance, from the garage sale, this was weeks ago, now I have all the shoes that I put in a garbage bag that she took out and says, I'm going to give them to someone. They're still sitting there. That's why I throw stuff away, because it never gets taken care of.
How about like nutrition wise? You got a protein you like or any of that stuff?
Oh yeah, Progenics. Yeah, Progenics.
Peanut butter smash?
No, I want to like that one.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it was really good when it first came out. I think it's changed. I like the chocolate. The vanilla's terrible. The strawberry's terrible. So I just stick with the Bavarian chocolate. Progenics. It's amazing. Tastes great. Nutritionally, I think it's really good. That and more muscle, depending on what you're doing, the recovery and more muscle. and then I'm on it. So I'm on day 3 of moderation. It's the first time since my cleanse and before the cleanse. So other than that, like 20-day period where I did great, it's been a gosh darn disaster, free for all. So I think something clicked.
All right. So then, going forward, do you have a goal when it comes to nutrition, fitness? Are you looking for a certain number you're aiming for? Or you just want to be wiser with your choices?
Yeah, I want to be 205. I'm 235. So, yeah, I'd love to stop fluctuating 25 pounds at a time. That sure would be nice.
Let's see. Oh, people are asking if we have the same shirt on today. It's funny because Scott came in, our visitor. He had a blue shirt on.
Yeah.
Your dad's wearing a blue shirt. Your mom's wearing a blue shirt. Wendy and Ted are wearing blue shirts. You got on a black shirt.
Yep.
So.
I showed up at 11 o'clock. So
yeah, he got here a little late today.
I was doing my my strategic alliance group meeting.
I got to show everybody. Sorry, this is bad for.
Yeah.
So I have on the blue shirt too.
Yeah.
Sadly, but I did kind of plan ahead a little. Hold
on. You're gonna wear every shirt every Wednesday.
I've got 4 more shirts on under this one just in case. Just keep digging until we find the right one.
Oh Lord, how did I get myself into this mess?
All right. Let's see here. We answered that one. All right. When it comes to OGHQ, I know you say you don't want to customize it too much, but when it comes to cabinets, drawer units, are you looking list of stuff? Are you looking similar to what we have now?
Yeah, I think Lista will always be our packing, shipping stuff, and then Sonic will be the cabinets for the the work area, the filming and video, and whether we do detailing or not area. After spending time with Billy, I think the odds of me building a detailing facility is not happening.
Okay, talk about that because we discussed that kind of briefly, but I don't think we mentioned it on here. We discussed maybe doing that here, but then after your experience, what changed your mind there?
I would want to do it on that level, and unless I was focused on that, it would probably never happen. And there would be a long curve to get to that level, where you have somebody that's like, a legit PPF guy and somebody that's a legit. So the detailer part is the easiest part. It's the supporting products, the tint, PPF, and then dent stuff. And you can't just send somebody to training for those other things. I could send somebody to training and get them to detail pretty quickly, but the other skills are not something you can just train. So I'd have to buy that. So I'd have to have somebody come, and I know I could do it. I know I could create an environment where I could get people that would want to, rather than running their own business, would come here that would benefit more from being under the umbrella. But I don't think I want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with the fact, okay, you get the PPF guy and he's, then he leaves and you're screwed. So I don't, after seeing it and living it for 3 days down there, I don't think I want to do it. The main reason why I would want to do it would be just for the research aspect of things, to be able to test new products. And again, detailing is not really my thing. It's just one of the aspects of the garage. So I think that that's unlikely that I'm going to do it. And if we did, it would be just a much simpler offering. So I still have Rex that would be amazing to have him come and work under OG, and he would do really well. So if we did it, it would be very boutique and like appointment only one. I don't know. I just don't think that I want to do that. I don't want to get in that business. It's not that profitable anyway. It's profitable for an owner-operator, not for an owner that then has a bunch of operators. Not as much. Because I don't have the heart to build a Topaz or a Protective Film Solutions or something big like that. I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, and when you say boutique, you mean 1 or 2 cars per day, just sort of. And then also, I think you mentioned this before, experimenting with new products or testing new stuff.
it would be very dictative in that you give me the car and we're going to do what we do to it. No input. It costs X amount of money. And then the other thing it would be is, again, it would be one of those things where I'd have people come and then they could pay significantly more, and I'll do the car with them, and we, teach them how to do it, and make it more of a training type environment. So that'll probably be the longer term aspect of what it would look like. But yeah, it'd be too much dealing with personalities that I'm not interested in dealing with. Just not going to do it.
Let's see here. Any thoughts on ever replacing the Gen 1 Raptor, and if so, with what?
Nothing at the moment. Yeah, no changes coming. We're going to probably drive that for a while. It has 60,000 miles on it now. So I think we're going to keep it. And I'd like to replace it with a Range Rover. But
a couple of people asked actually about driving, because you don't have very far to drive each day. So what does that look like for you as opposed to, I know with Michelle on the Raptor, she puts a lot more miles on it.
Mm-hmm.
So how many miles are you driving per week?
Not many. I'm having a hard time driving lately anyway because of my obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm freaking out while driving down the road, which is ridiculous. But so I'm driving to the gym and driving here, and so I'm driving 4 or 5 miles a day, and that's about it. And a lot of times I'll just take the back way. I'll take the back way to the gym. I'll take the back way home, down whatever a little bit of curves we have around here, and that's about it. So the mileage, like the M3 just hit 33,000. I think I bought it with like 32.3, so like 700 miles on the thing. I feel like I've driven them all a lot, just not far. I white knuckled it all the way down to Tampa in my GT3 like a freaking baby. I don't know what the heck's wrong with me. I need some drugs, some strong drugs. I think that's what I need.
What are your thoughts on using a dedicated PPF coating on PPF such as G-Technique Halo or CarPro Skin versus using a normal paint coating like CSL or Seacords UK?
I don't know. We have to try it. I haven't tried any of it, but I suspect it probably doesn't do squat. It's probably one of those things that's largely unnecessary. I guess the advantage may be if it's more easily removed, so you could reapply it, a couple of years down the line, if your PPF is still holding up. But the chances of that happening are pretty slim. You're going to want to replace your PPF in 2 or 3 years anyway. This bull crap about it lasting 10-year warranties and stuff, the car's going to look like terrible. First of all, how do they even know? Well, he's probably going to have been out for 2 years, let alone 10 years. And so I think you just coat it with a regular coating. But I'm going to try it. The Halo is interesting. We'll see. The advantage is they've tested it on PPFs, and so you'll know that it'll bond better. Or at least, you'll know that it will bond, whereas otherwise you're just gambling or guessing or drawing from other people's experience. I just don't know that it's a product that needs to exist because the other coatings go on PPFs just fine.
Any updates? You put out the word in the last podcast, maybe the one before, about looking for a graphic designer. Should people still be sending you stuff? Have you found the perfect person? What's the deal there?
Yeah, I haven't found anybody yet. We got a guy coming this afternoon. And then I need to call Danny about, I don't know if I can afford him. It's funny, he came to the open house, and I'll probably listen to this, but he was a guy I was super impressed with back when I was younger. I was like 25, and we bought an Audi, our first Audi, or maybe I was 26 or 7, something like that. And we bought the A4, and he was an Audi brand specialist at the time. It's just amazing. And went to art school. I didn't know that, and he showed up at the open house, and so I got to call him. I just don't know if I can afford him. I don't know how much he's making or what he needs to make. And I don't know what his work looks like, but knowing him, I suspect it's probably pretty good. But I'm still looking for that position of somebody to support Bryce in the art side of things, and make new shirts and hats and brand the building and brand stuff, create banners, and when, like, for instance, the Dial In podcast, Bryce only has so much time in a day to each episode to have images and things like that. So I'm looking for somebody to sort of chase all of that stuff, and somebody to go to clothing shows. And I think people, I know I want new shirts and things like that, and shorts, and who knows what else we can make. Different things with the OG logo, the Obsessed Garage brand, I think is cool. So, and I think other people would think it was cool too.
And I know you and Bryce have been doing some research the past couple days. You want to speak to any of that about cameras, camera equipment, all that stuff?
Yeah, it's funny. I was in I'm in a group of other business owners, in that my business coach puts on. We do that once every other week. So twice a month, the first and third Wednesday of the month from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30, and we do it on Zoom. And we had a discussion today about social media, and most business owners have this: we need to check the box, we need to get on there, we need to get on there. And the discussion was a lot about what you're paying someone to do that, and they got to get a post up every day and all this other bull crap. And so I kept my mouth shut, and they were talking about how much money they're spending on it and who's doing it. At the end of it, I said, I did the normal Maddie, tell it like it is. I said, I think you all are wasting your money on a waste of time. So I thought about what Bryce and I have been doing, chasing cameras. Like, we don't need a new camera, but the pursuit of a camera and a better experience to be able to capture a little bit smoother footage, like what we've been focused on, figuring out, like when Bryce has to handhold it, or when I'm vlogging somewhere, I'm using the Canon G7X, which is cool, but there's a lot of limitations to that. And so I think there's something to be said about an appetite for the pursuit of knowledge to improve whatever it is you're doing in order to storytell online. That's all I'm doing, is I'm just telling my daily story through cars and detailing and garages. And so I said to them, I'll give you an example. We're like focused. We would probably spent, I've spent 15 hours digging into what's my next camera going to be, and then what rig are we going to put on it, and then do I need a new ball head for my tripod, and so chasing the creation of the stuff. And then I was watching an MKBHD video about the unboxing studio, because I want to build a studio for unboxing, mainly just to make it simple so we can walk in, shoot it, and go. And then I see there freaking wires everywhere and all these false panels, and I just know that we'll do it way better. And do it. I'm not as talented as those guys, so we won't have as many views. But this office, there are very few people that have an office looks like this. And so the fun of it, the pursuit of the creation of things, and just even chasing what camera to buy, I think is telling of our brand, in that we're willing to chase detail that most aren't. And then I think that my uniqueness, because there are not a lot of people, but there's a percentage of people, especially probably many of you that are listening, that are way more detail oriented than I am. But I eventually just write the check. I eventually launch. I jump. And so like this camera, I'm going to research, and then I'm just going to jump. I'm going to buy all kinds of crap, and some of it's going to be wrong, and some I'm going to have to sell later or return if I didn't use it because it didn't fit. And I'm just going to leap. And so I'm becoming not an expert, but well versed, and then I'm going to jump in and buy it and try it. And then I'm going to sell all the other stuff that I bought and tried that I don't like the Canon or Panasonic GH5. I just don't like the camera. I mean, and camera is something we're using regularly. So I was going to buy a Sony A9, and now after doing extensive research, I'm going to do Sony A7 III, and then we're going to build an actual rig around it. And so we're going to have two rigs. We're going to have that for tripod mount, and then we're going to have a handheld mount. And that handheld version will be on a gimbal, and then the gimbal I'll use for vlogging as well. So that'll be my camera. So I'm probably going to just buy two A7 IIIs, sell all the other stuff I have, sell all the Canon stuff, that like the 80D and the lenses that go with that. I'm going to sell the GH5 and the lenses go with that, and I'm going to try Sony for a little while. You're waiting for Canon to come out with a mirrorless that does what a Sony does, or maybe Sony will win out. I'll still keep Canon for stills. I like Canon for still stuff. So I'll keep all my Canon L stuff and just sell all the other video stuff that I bought. I probably shouldn't tell you this because now I'm going to get 1,000 more emails.
Remember, email Matt at Obsessed Garage. Here's this is a good question. Where do you think detailing is going in the future? What is there after coatings? Seems that companies are at the end of the road as far as superior products. Are products really going to get better than we already have? I can see how far we've come from wax to coatings and from Dawn soap to really good pH cleaners. But just think, in your mind, as you kind of evolve and companies evolve and they test and they practice and things get better, like what does that look like to you? Where do you think it goes from here?
I think as the industry gets bigger and more money gets involved, and as more it becomes more bigger and mainstream, I think you're going to see a lot of changes with chemicals and how they're monitored and how they're regulated and how safe they are, because who knows, some of the stuff you just don't know. So I think there's going to be a lot of safety standardization that's going to slow the industry down at some point. I think polishers are going to continue to get better. I think that coatings are going to continue to get easier to install and better and longer lasting. And I think it may end up creating a response from the clear coat manufacturers that there could be a setback in detailing, and that maybe detailing becomes less necessary if the paint industry starts to see how people are valuing clean, corrected, protected paint. That the manufacturers of clear coats may start to improve that, and then by and large slows the need to detail down a bit. But I don't know. We'll see. I think that it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger as more and more people realize that they're buffing their car down with a single microfiber towel. It's becoming more and more present and aware. So I think that we're in the infancy of what detailing is going to be. And so when more money shows up, then there's going to be more technology invested in it. So I think that there's stuff that'll come out that we can't even imagine at this point. I don't think it's going to be just what we have available to us. I think there's going to be better abrasives. There's going to be the better protection, better coatings, things like that. And I don't even think it'll be called a coating. It'll be something different. And that we'll see. We'll see if safety slows progress. Regulation slows progress. So we'll see. But I think it's one of those things that's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. I think the way that to do that, I think if you're involved in the industry, I think the way to do it is to direct to consumer, not so much the the wholesale type. Or I guess the professional side of detailing. I think consumer-driven DIY stuff will grow at an exponential rate faster than people that are detailing for a living. But by proxy, the people that detail for a living will see a benefit to that from the awareness that's available, because a lot of people won't want to do it themselves.
All right, right now on the channel, the new videos are about the GT3 RS detail with Adam down in Tampa. So is that what's coming out here in the next couple of days, or what should people be looking for in terms of videos here in the upcoming few days?
Yeah, the Adam LZ stuff, and then then we'll be back on the 1M and M3 for a little bit, and then who knows what else I'm going to dream up. I got to do some stuff with Freddie Tavares. I'm going to put the Comet down in one of either his garage or his facility. Working on all kinds of stuff. So who knows? Every morning I wake up, there's some stuff that I'm going to document. I'm going to do some vlog stuff too, just to kind of bring you along day in the life, because it seems like every week it changes a bit. So I'll have some vlogs coming out here. The Dine in Sonic tours. So we'll have some videos from that, probably 3 or 4 videos from that. And we'll see where it goes from there. I'll be down at PSI doing some alignment work. I'm going to try to do it myself. So we'll see what that looks like. But I'll have that done as well.
Let's see what else we got here then.
I'm probably going to do an office tour and I'm waiting for one last cabinet I'm going to do a formal Obsessed Garage tour as well that we'll do. So I want to do a desk tour, office tour, go through that again. I've got an iMac Pro coming, so I'm going to change this up a little bit. And then I'll be sharing the process of building HU 3.0. And we call this 2.0. The previous one I had over by my office was 1.0. And then 3.0 is coming. Hopefully soon.
All right, that's all the questions. Well, here you go. Here's one other question related to what we discussed earlier. Where do you see the Porsche GT market going? Porsche seems to be spitting these things out more and more.
I don't know. I hope at some point they flood the market with so many of them that you can just buy them. I'm tired of this nonsense about you can't get it. There's so many of them for sale. It's just, again, I harp on this over and over again. I wish the dealership model would just freaking go away. It's not going anywhere, but it's just so frustrating. A bunch of people that don't know jack about cars, that don't care about cars, that are just scamming the world. Just cut the fat. Make it the Tesla model. Create some retail stores and have some service centers and cut the darn stupid dealership model out for good. I'm frustrated with Porsche and the whole stupid model. It's just, I'm over it. That's why I'm not chasing a .2. It's just stupid, So I'm reluctant to even care what they come out with. I like my car. I like it a lot. And so the games that are being played in the car world, I'm just not even going to get involved. I got really frustrated and really involved for a little while, and I'm just not going to do it. So screw them. Screw the whole frickin' thing. The whole dumb model. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. You got some goofy salesman that you're paying money to sell something they don't know anything about, and you got some stupid service center that's trying to have some dumb agenda, and you got some dealership. It's just bull crap. I don't know anything about the cars. I don't care about the cars. I don't care about any of it. I'm sure there are some good ones, but not many. And Porsche seems to be the worst. So, yeah.
Next time you can tell us your true feelings on that. Okay, we'll end it with this then, I think, because it's getting about that time. What items are still available from the OG garage sale video? That's a good question, Rick. Not very many things at all. I think you said earlier this morning, once all the dust kind of settles, you'll kind of.
There's one little picture of like 5 things that are left, and I think it'll be 3 things by then. I saw the Apex wheels, and we have the two little thingies, the Scarlets. Those are the only 2 significant things that are left. We got 1 hose reel left, but I think that's pending. So yeah, they're pretty cool. I mean, after Saturday, I was ready to just go throw everything away. It's a good thing I didn't, because I sold like $3,000 more worth of cool stuff. So, yeah. Yeah,
we have a few people who asked for items and it's still pending and waiting for their payment. But once all that settles and goes out the door, then we'll be sure to let you know.
Yeah. I'm most excited about building this subwoofer coming up. People are going to give me a real hard time on that when they see me fumbling through some woodworking.
Do you get to do any soldering as part of this?
No.
That was a fun video. I always liked that one.
This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Well, isn't that what I said in the very beginning? You're doing it all wrong. So, well, these work. Mike's, do you hear any noise? I don't hear any noise. It sounds great. Well, I've soldered for the last 25 years and you're stupid. I said, well, I've soldered for the last 25 minutes. So good for you. Idiots. Gosh.
All right. Well, any closing remarks here? This is good. We only have 1 thumbs down today. So I think that was Michelle with all the laundry talk. That she's probably the one who did that.
Yeah, usually at the very end, this could be our signature outgoing where I start to rant about something. I kind of ran a little bit about dealerships. Mm-hmm. What else could I rant about that it makes me angry? Soldering, I don't give a crap about soldering. That's one thing I'm not obsessed about, clearly, soldering.
There you go. That answers that other question.
I'd like to be good at soldering for the one time that I'm going to do it between now and the rest of the end of my life, but yeah, that's it. I'm out.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate everybody who tuned in. It's fun getting the questions and kind of getting that feedback. It's nice to have an audience out there to remind us of why we do some of this stuff sometimes, that in the end they're the ones who are buying all this stuff. So
yeah, they're living this bizarro dream world that's just insane. And I'm gonna keep throwing the Matty-isms out there and not filter it, and stay consistent with, like for instance, I'm gonna go in here and screw something up on the 1M for sure, and I'm gonna continue to share that and continue to do the real, and hopefully people keep showing up. It'd be cool if more do. The more the merrier, is the way I look at it. So anyway, thanks for watching this one, and I guess we'll be back on Thursday's schedule next week, I think, because I'll be back in town, and then then we'll be back because I'll be back from Rupes, so we'll be back on Thursdays for a while until I go to California, and then look for me on a Smoking Tire coming up soon. That's going to be fun. So anyway, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy.